Today, most of us have become what is written on the slide, Homo technologicus. What does that mean? Anyone from the backbench? What is Homo technologicus? Okay, to explain it to you better, I would like to invite my fellow panelists, Divya, Raghavan Sampath, Vinod, Manmeet, Sunil Dutt, and Amit. A big round of applause. So when we were initially planning to do this panel, what I did is I put the panel topic in AI, and I asked AI to give me the questions. Okay, that's a obvious. I think Amit, you should move here. It will be easier for us to. The pictures will be better. So AI gave me one simple question. Ask them what, why, when of gadgets. And then I said, okay, when AI says so, it is applying its own intelligence, but there is a lot which goes behind the curtains. And that's what we'll try to extract today from all of you. Starting with India's biggest, one of the biggest telcos, Airtel, right? We'll go across the room with one question and introduction. So you can introduce yourself and answer the question, and then we will kind of weave other themes. My question to you, one point, is when will India achieve supremacy in building gadgets made in India? With your introduction.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. I think, start with the introduction. Hi everyone, this is Divya Chaudhary. I had partnerships for Airtel. And to answer your question, Abhishek, I think the next decade, as everyone says, is the decade for India. I think in a lot of cases, we have already moved miles ahead in terms of supremacy of gadgets made in India. And I think one sphere that I see really leading that charge will be the connected home space, be it last mile connectivity with, fixed wireless access or IPTV. So I think the decade is now, and I think India is very close to reaching it, starting with connected homes.
Great. Your quick intro and the same question. And the way Divya alluded towards one category, any other category you see?
Hey, hi, good morning everybody. My name is Raghavan. I head business development and sales for MediaTek. I've been with semiconductor industry for last 25 years. And last 25 years, to answer Abhishek's question, I have seen the transformation of India electronic design, hardware, software, product design, right? So to answer a question, yes, we are innovating, we are designing products, which is important for a very large demographic country like India. So the needs are completely different. So let's not forget there is 70% of the population still in rural of India, right? So we do have high spending income professionals or homes, right? So we need gadgets for multiple use cases and multiple applications. So just to answer your question, it's kind of the mother is the necessity of all inventions, right? So the need is the necessity of the all. So India has some unique needs. So for example, the PhonePe or the Paytm machines which reads out, that's a unique gadget for India you don't see anywhere else. And similarly for farmers, there are some automated pump sets where they just send an SMS to switch on the, or they need to walk 1 kilometer in the midnight because the water pumping happens at the midnight from in some of the various parts. So what I would say is, yes, India is designing and innovating based on the needs of the country and the use cases, basically.
Vinod?
Hi, my name is Vinod Saharan. I had IoT business at Vividian. We're designing a lot of these gadgets myself for almost 2 decades now. So, just to answer your question first, your actual question was when India will reach that supremacy in this space, right? See, we have been doing this design for almost 18 years now. Real product design in India. So, while Indian needs, definitely as Raghavan told, they are different. But when we call about supremacy, right? Yes, we have work to do.
Even the
Yes.
pockets, I'm
Yes.
okay, because I know you guys do experience-led design
Correct.
quite a lot. VVDN is known for that.
Correct. So, so two things basically, right? So, area-wise, I mean, today what is happening in India, if you see most of the gadgets, at least new startups talking about three things. One is more focused on sort of medical tech. The second one is more on AR, VR. I mean, lot of companies, lot of startups in fact. And the third one is something related to robotics, more maybe your home robots and that kind of thing, right? So, looking at Indian needs, right? Healthcare is definitely one of the area. Looking at our population, our demographics, our health infra in general, right? That is one area where definitely ecosystem will grow, and it is growing. But from a gadgets perspective, definitely there are a lot of opportunities there. The second area, when we say home automation, as Divya was saying, yes, it is there. I would say slightly still at a slightly premium level, maybe not going to the masses, but yes, that is another area. The third one, AR, VR, everyone is talking, but primarily the way manufacturing is growing, more than on the entertainment side, right? Looking at the AR, VR in the industry, in the manufacturing, whether it's for diagnostic, whether it is for repair or for the remote diagnostic, right? That is another area which will definitely grow. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Amit?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amit Agarwal, and I take care of consumer experience at Samsung Electronics India. And this is what I love doing, which is making products and experiences better for our consumers. Interesting question. So I would put it like this. A lot of chip design has been happening in India for a very long time. So there are global GCCs which are here and doing chip design. A lot of software design and software development has been happening in India for a very long time. Now it's the middle layer, which is you start putting together various components and start make them talk to each other. So that's when the whole product design comes into the play. And the journey has started. I really can't speculate when we will have supremacy, but because the journey has started and it's on the accelerated path, I think let's enjoy the journey and it should happen. There are some areas where it can happen faster. I like to concur with Divya that home IoT and home automation or vision intelligence, these are some of the areas where these things can happen faster, but it's definitely, we have joined that bandwagon and we are on the way.
Great.
Thanks.
And my next question lies into the next slide, which says the big 10 billion India sets iPhone export record. This is yesterday's headline. India has exported $10 billion of iPhones as of yesterday, and the question lies into the same, and I'll come to you. Why such devices are not designed from India? What can we do culturally in a country like India to start designing and conceiving these ideas at an early stage? Amit?
Okay, so that's a question which, it's an interesting question. I think when I talk about cultural, there is one thing we can do, which is culturally, we have all the ingredients, at least the raw material is all there. But culturally, couple of things if we can do, which is we can start celebrating design and engineering. We can start having heroes who are creators, innovators, builders, and that can give a lot of impetus to a lot of young people coming and joining this. So this happened in last 2 decades. Lot of the startup culture has taken the hold. Lot of young people now want to, they give equal importance to startups as they would give to large companies. And still, like the way we have cult of cricket, the cult of Bollywood, if we can also have the cult of makers and a makers movement around it, where people can come together and create things and celebrate things, I think that should really help us go there.
coming to Vinod, VVDN's one of the line is experience-led design, right? And that's what today, if you look at, when you start the journey as a country, there is a lot copy-paste which need to be done, no shame in that. But when you say experience-led design, that is a global product which can be a truly global hero, right? That philosophy in Indian manufacturing of the gadgets, by when do you see that becoming a mainstream?
From a manufacturing standpoint, I would say we are more or less almost there, right? Whatever has happened over last maybe 7-8 years or a decade, right? And especially, I would say definitely with this government specifically, right? Manufacturing has really grown and lot of innovation. When I say innovation from a manufacturing standpoint, right? Because we do manufacturing. We used to do a lot of things manually when we started, like almost 15 years back. There has been a lot of automation, lot of focus on quality. From an Indian culture perspective, right, little bit that shift is required and it is happening from our chalta hai and jugaad. It is required if you really want global products.
Right.
So, and we looking, when we say experience-led design or manufacturing, right, when we were doing design, we realized manufacturing is need of our, we started manufacturing. Now when we started manufacturing, we realized design has to be done for manufacturing. That is where the experience comes. It's easy to say, it's very difficult to do basically. And that is what we definitely need to learn from all the pioneers, and we need to grow in that segment basically.
So, Raghavan, you guys have been a fabulous company for ages, and we were talking about the cars just before we got on board. China is selling 2.5 crore cars every year. India sells 45 lakh cars. That gives you a huge headroom for one particular segment in which MediaTek can be a leader. Which are the other pockets do you see from your experience where MediaTek can enable the journey of India, make in India for gadgets and the semiconductor?
Sure. So thanks for this very innovative or interesting question. So let me tell you what we have done in recent past after COVID, right? So after COVID, there was a huge demand for broadband, right? And people were working from home and there was WFH for a very long time. And people started consuming internet in zettabytes or per day, they were huge. So in order to provide internet broadband like the ISPs of Airtel, so we have co-worked with India's internet service providers and telecom service providers to in fact revolutionize broadband, right? So there are certain innovations which none of the global guys or global telecom service providers could do that. So I'll give you one classic example with Divya's permission is, so globally for 5G FWA broadband, there were IDCPs, it's called indoor CPE, which is inside the door, one user per CPE. Whereas likes of Airtel and the Mumbai Jio guys, they said, I'll put an outdoor CPE because 5G indoor penetration is poor. Second point is, they said one outdoor unit is underutilized for one home because the outdoor unit can receive up to 600, 700 Mbps of data, whereas consumers are at 50 or 100 Mbps max. And they inserted another device called RMDU, Remote Management Device Unit. So one ODCPE is for many IDUs. So by this way, the infrastructure cost is coming down. And second thing is, it's using the right bandwidth because spectrum is also pretty important for sub-6 of 5G.
Right.
So this is one very innovative product what we have done. Similarly, automotive, while you mentioned, right, so we have been innovating in automotive, especially right from 2G telematics day.
Right.
So we have not marketed enough. So if you remember AIS 140, a government regulation where they said telematics is mandatory for all commercial vehicles. So MediaTek based modules, so we are at tier 3 in the ecosystem chain. So there is a OEM, then there is a device provider, then a module guy and a chip guy. So that's why people don't know how we have been part of the India revolution enabling technologies for the consumers. Again, last but not least, I'll repeat my example of the Paytm box, sound box. that again used a 2G very low cost module where people used to get the confirmation of the payment, especially the rural Indians who are not well educated, who don't notice
It's being replicated across the world.
that's all what we have done, right? So there is one very disruptive product which we are working with a very large Indian company. Partially it's in the public domain. So today the millimeter wave spectrum, again I'm holding on to broadband because internet is the most essential part of the digital revolution. So you need internet, every home needs to be connected, every Indian needs to be connected for digitization to penetrate, like how the telecom minister and our honorable prime minister mentioned yesterday. So millimeter wave, last 3.5 years or 3 years after spectrum is lying idle. None of the telcos are able to provide services on the millimeter wave, right? So we have been working for last 18 months. It's an amazing and most disruptive device. Nobody has developed in the world. It's under embargo, so I can't reveal, but there is something on internet already. You can Google millimeter wave spectrum and India telcos doing something very disruptive. So that will be the biggest disruption next year by MediaTek.
Let me ask the telco expert the same question and get more insight on that.
Skip the millimeter wave question, but I think, I think what, Raghavan clearly mentioned, I think, while, there was a lot of innovation that was done in, FWA, enabling those FWA with those outdoor units. I think, and the reason I said connected homes is because that's one area where telcos are practically subsidizing those routers and devices for the customers, right? And also the fact that where telcos coming is because we have a unique vantage point. Like, because of our distribution reach and our legacy with customers, our understanding of consumers is extremely deep. And I'll give an example. It launched its IPTV in end of March. And, we powered by the, broadband evolution and expansion that we were able to do with FWA, we, took on that wave. We launched the IPTV box fundamentally on two principles. So, the Airtel team was actively working with, the teams who was producing the devices in terms of what is the architecture that we need from a hardware standpoint. And also building a platform layer in terms of software to say what is the personalization that customers need, is there a monetization avenue that we can create, how do we manage life cycle. So I think the combination of two and the intelligence that comes from telcos, and if all the players come in together, that is an ideal blueprint which can enable all of us to create more and more products, which are started in India, launched in India, and then can be exported, worldwide.
Great, and let me, also bring in a dimension of everyone is talking about AI, and today no panel can go home without answering the questions on AI. Starting with Amit. Amit, you have spent significant time in Korea, China, now in India. How can we leverage AI better to fast track the next phase of our journey?
I think if we ask this question to AI, the answer will be interesting. But jokes apart, so AI is a catalyst. What we do, AI helps us to do faster. Sometimes AI helps us to explore areas which humanly we are missing. So the core topic is gadgets for the futures, right? From make in India to design in India. So AI systems today and large LLM models already have ingested world knowledge. And then there are specific purpose AI LLMs available which have very deep knowledge on design, material sciences, components, products, consumer experience, putting it all together. So if we, where AI, I think, has a perfect match, when you take robotics is nothing but core of everything we say, in mechanics and power electronics or assembly, and ultimately gadgets is nothing but robotics put together. AI and robotics, when you marry them, you get a new generation of products and technology. So what happened earlier in 2010 or when smartphones started, and suddenly in 2013, 14, 15, when smartphones came, three things came together. One, smartphone enabled you to do many things. Second, high-speed data, which is LTE data, which came up. So you could suddenly do things like book a cab, order something, execute things on the phones. Third was cloud. So cloud, smartphones, and connectivity. Three things came together, and I think millions of use cases became possible, and those millions of use cases came to us in form of applications. So when multiple technologies come together, that's when magic happens. So if we look at today's picture, it's electronics, robotics, AI, and there is a third element which, when they come together, we will have gadgets which are new, which are very productive, and the whole pace which has taken long time for other countries and other companies to go through, this can happen much faster. And consumers are using AI. All of us are using AI at our personal levels via some AI tool, right? And even school children are using AI. So I think if we can seed it right at the education K-12 level of electronics, gadgets, robotics, and AI, and when they grow up and they grow up playing with these things, this can really fast track the whole journey. This is my point of view.
So Vinod, from the manufacturing perspective, which is the most impactful area which you see AI is going to disrupt?
AI is disrupting almost everything, right? Even what we didn't think about few years back. So when it comes to manufacturing, right? So the first thing is the places, right? When the areas where as a human, right, we have our own limitations. So one is the hazardous industries, right? Where we definitely see, especially from an Indian context, right? Lot of people still working. So one advantage is lot of gadgets for them, where AI will enable lot of applications in terms of safety. The second thing is specifically on manufacturing is the defect detection. Especially if you say today vision-based AI, right?
Visual AI, yeah.
Yeah, so that is really growing very fast. In fact, lot of work that we have done on visual AI, detecting the defects, like even if you have a product you are manufacturing, even detecting a crack in that, detecting even a scratch on that can be done with visual AI, right? So the inspection, right? Automated inspection is another area where AI, especially visual AI, is going to help a lot, basically. Yeah, and specifically for these needs, we need something specialized, I mean NPUs if you ask me, because lot of dedicated or generic NPUs are available. But if we go gadget specific AI, especially the smaller gadgets or battery powered gadgets, we need to look at smaller footprint NPUs which are actually going to run with very low power, basically. That will be the catalyst to really boom AI in this application specifically.
And Raghavan, from your perspective, AI for gadgets or gadgets for AI, where are you focusing?
Okay.
Or AI for semiconductor for AI?
True. So all electronic gadgets, semiconductor is the essential building block, right? So we need to start, or we have already done. We have put the NPUs today. There's a, not bragging, but we are launching the latest and the greatest MediaTek smartphone chipset with the dual NPU, which is a 9th generation.
Wow.
So when I say 9th, why I say 9th generation, very particular about 9th is it's evolved to the 9th generation already, because AI is an evolving technology, right? Every day there is something new, learning model or new algorithms coming in, and you have to make the gadgets more innovative, more intuitive, and it has to be predictability as well. So AI is all about predictability, productivity, efficiency, and once the semiconductors SoC starts supporting such kind of both hardware level NPUs and the LLMs which can run on it, then of course gadgets can become more smarter, or gadgets can run much more, can do much more at the AI level. So that's the innovations what we are doing at
And there were lots of pressure on networks for AI, right? How are you preparing for it?
See, I think actually, we are embracing it. Yeah. So in the sense that, when we, like as telcos, we have a dual responsibility. First is because there is a wide customer base that we have. So how do we truly democratize AI access for them? So, which is something, when we launched a partnership with Perplexity, that was the intent, that how do we really unlock that potential for, students, early jobbers, and practically everyone in India who wants to learn and create more and more entrepreneurs. And then the second aspect is that, because of this, of course, there is, immense pressure on network. How do we really optimize our networks? How do we really, and also being a legacy company, it gives us an opportunity to innovate our internal ecosystems. I think customer experience is one area where we definitely feel that, AI is one, can really enable us in transformation, understanding, transcripting what customers are saying, what are the pain points, and then how do we solve it. And similarly on network, right, like what I've heard, I think on the utility transmission there is, big space, which I think Vinod also mentioned, the entire governance and audit. So how do we embrace it in network is another key area where, we are focusing on.
So if you look at India as a market, India is the fastest growing gadgets market in the world, 24% CAGR, I believe. And if you look at the market size, we were number 2. There are some research which claim we are number 1, there are some claims we are number 2. So India is a market and product for India. What's going on? We can start with Amit again. Because second largest market, if you don't address this market, you will miss a big piece of the market.
Yeah. So right. So one is large population which loves to play and experiment with gadgets, right? So just you launch a product and we have all age groups, all demographic groups there who love to play and explore. So it's not only a large market, it's also a very large playground or let's say a pilot market also. So a lot of exciting work is happening in India. So earlier what used to happen long time ago, a product would get launched in other markets, more developed markets, and much later the product would come to India. Today, India first launches are happening, and there are plenty of examples where India first launches are happening. So that's one area. Second, a lot of innovation which would happen outside and then come to India. Now there is innovation, original innovation happening in India, launch in India first, and then going global. So if I talk about Samsung, so there's a lot of innovation in home AI, smart things, visual AI, communication experiences, which touch millions of people every day, because we know people use these experiences every day. They get designed, launched in India, and they are successful, and then they go global. So this is on the innovation front where a lot of work is happening. On the product front, because India has its own unique needs, and Raghavan just gave an example of a 2G box, voice box, which was very unique need for India. So like this, if you see in a lot of product categories, gadgets, electronics, autos, everywhere, new form factors which may have been thought over everywhere are first getting conceptualized, co-designed in India and being launched in India. So India is today one of the prime premier markets where companies, Indian companies and global companies, all of them are very excited about and are centered on innovation and use cases from India. So because it's already there, so market will get addressed as the large growing market will get addressed. Thanks.
Perfect. Vinod, again, India is a market, but I'll take a little bit of deroute from India as a design hub or India as a manufacturing hub. What do you see as a, yeah. So what do you think India need to do as couple of steps to up the game in the areas of design and manufacturing?
So I think first let's take design, right? See, India has been doing design from a design perspective, we need tools. Tools are available. And with AI coming, I mean, people are definitely having much better usage of tools, more efficient usage, right? So tool is not a problem. Second is talent. I mean, India produces the talent that we produce is like humongous, right? And in fact, most of the, big corporations, whether Indian or non-Indian, you can see how Indians are running that. So talent is not the issue. The third thing comes on design side is ecosystem and mindset. That is what really requires little bit to change and to it is happening. It's already happening actually as we speak. So ecosystem, when we say from design innovation perspective, right? Especially in a gadget sort of market, innovation is the key. You have to differentiate yourself. Otherwise, you can make gadgets, but again, those brands will be lost basically. So what really happens ecosystem is we are doing a lot of stuff. We need to find very core areas. Looking at Indian demography, both in terms of population, in terms of the economical expenditure that they can do, right? We need some very unique gadgets. So agricultural, as you were mentioning, is one area where this can be done. We have like still 70% population is sort of into agriculture, right, or agriculture related jobs. Then coming is healthcare, which I mentioned earlier also. So the mindset change is required in the sense if we want to do something, it has to work. Otherwise, we cannot compete with most of the global brands. Today, India really needs to create brands. People are willing. Funding is there, talent is there. Now ecosystem is required. Mindset is already changing. Now the third thing in ecosystem is the components. We need some application specific components in terms of even including chips. All the generic chips that we are using, if you really want a very low power gadget, let's say audio specific gadget, then that chip has to focus on audio functionality. It needs to work only how it can enhance your audio experience and how it can even enable AI on audio level basically, right? So in ecosystem today we are still dependent on outside. Chips are available, component level, lot more innovation has to happen.
That leads to Raghavan from fabless to fab journey. What do you think we need to do?
Okay, so if you look at the fabless and fab, if you ask me, is it required to have fabrication? I'm talking about both India specific and the semiconductor companies, right? So semiconductor companies, traditionally, all of them were fab based. Why fab? They used to manufacture the semiconductors in-house, right from packaging, wafers, testing, and rollout, right? Last 20 years, things changed. So fab requires huge investment. Each fab can cost up to $10 to $12 billion. So capex investment is huge, and you need to have the return of investment. So otherwise, you can't make profits, or your operating margins and profit margins are pretty low. Then when fabless companies started innovating, there was the rise of these common fabrication units like TSMC, Global Foundries, Samsung fabs, and Intel fabs. They were doing chips or manufacturing for the fabless companies, right? Right. So coming to India, yes, we do need fabs. Definitely we need fabs. And since the investment is huge, and as the government policies and the semiconductor companies have decided, we are not going to invest on the 3 nanometer or the 2 nanometer fabs. So we are looking at very strategic investments where there is a need due to geopolitics and Atmanirbhar or self-resilience.
So the nodes which have the maximum use cases.
Yeah, no, this is not maximum. This is strategic use cases. Okay. So it could be aerospace, it could be defense, it could be sometimes even medtech, right? Where it is still higher nano, and some automotive use cases as well. Because of the rare earth, I'm not correlating fabs to the rare earth mineral ban or embargo. So there could be some embargo saying that, okay, EV vehicles cannot import chips like how China has a lot of restrictions. India also can face it. So do we need fabs? Yes, the answer is yes. Do we invest on the latest 2-3 nanometer? May not. We are not ready because the investment is pretty huge. Even if government gives incentives and SOPs, companies both Indian and global will be tough to, because the ecosystem is not ready yet.
So what we do, we invest in the strategic areas, higher nanometer, start taking smaller steps before you leap. Then maybe after 5 years, I think so the situation could be very ripe. Then we start investing in the latest and cutting edge technologies. This is from the global perspective. If companies who are manufacturing, right, they want to shift their fabs in India for various reasons, yeah, pretty much India is ready in terms of the infrastructure. So you have power, you have airports, you have road infrastructure and the seaports today. So that shouldn't be a problem if the global companies wants to shift their fabs to India for some geopolitical reasons.
Perfect.
So that's the answer, yeah.
And that's a good one. Divya, telcos are of late becoming the backbone of the country in terms of the growth, in terms of the strategic nature of the telcos, right? How are you balancing these two aspects of the growth and being the very responsive telco? So in a way, we were talking about IT, IoT use cases, which is the growth drivers, right? Globally, if you look at telcos are under the stress for the margins. Can gadgets change the game for you?
See, I think what global telcos are facing now, I think India telcos always face that because of, I think India is one of the countries with the lowest ARPU. So I think, and addressing the price sensitivity of the Indian diaspora is extremely important for any player across industries, right? The way telcos are uniquely positioned is, of course, there is a B2B lens in terms of, how do we keep on inventing and accelerating our growth on the back of, IoT-led, inventions. And then acting as a backbone, our, core job is to ensure that, hey, the latest and the best technology that's out there should be available to all the consumers. And that's where a lot of, from a mobility standpoint, there's a lot of focus in terms of how do we continue to roll out more and more 5G sites across the country. How do we continue to increase the broadband penetration across cities? So I think that's practically in terms of ensuring that connectivity needs of the country are addressed as a whole.
Right.
And that's especially true for us because, India has the highest youth population. Like there are 100 million new, young users who are expected to join the economy, over the next 5 years.
Right.
And hence, and that's in one way, that's one of the key reasons the gadgets growth is, fueling not just from a smartphone standpoint, but also across, multiple categories.
If you get a wish and that wish is for your industry and you will be granted that wish by someone here around in IMC or maybe yesterday who were here, what will be your one wish for the telco industry?
See, I think from a telco industry standpoint, I think being able to cater to the demand of the customers at an, because providing connectivity is extremely capex intensive. So how do we, are able to build a network which is resilient enough across, the landscape of this entire nation, I think is extremely critical because even now we are at 97% connectivity.
So you want to reach to more users at the low cost?
More users at a low cost. And then also connectivity, not just for mobility, but across, like high speed internet access is what we really want to enable for everyone.
Raghavan, what's your wish list?
Wish list India to become the semiconductor powerhouse, be the world leader, cater to the entire world, have the best fabrication units, and India should have our own world-class semiconductor company. So today, so we have the GCCs and just to highlight, right, every semiconductor company globally, there are 25 of them, big, small, everybody. The biggest R&D centers of their headquarters, India is housing those semiconductor companies R&D.
Correct.
So R&D we are covered, but India needs an Indian semiconductor company who is going to lead the world like the NVIDIAs or better than NVIDIAs. That's my wish as an
Creating
Indian.
truly global products
Like
launched from India.
Yeah, it's for India, yeah.
Yeah, so as Raghavan told on, we need more semiconductor companies in India, India semiconductor companies. We need Indian product brands in all the areas, right? It's not just, automotive is still much better, but if you look all the other electronic space, especially gadget space, we definitely need to create more brands. And that will happen with collaboration. So collaboration is the key. So collaboration should happen.
Collaboration, perfect. Amit?
So a lot has already happened, you know. I think there are production link incentives are there. There are GCC enablements are there.
The design link incentives also.
Yeah, design-led incentives are there. GST rationalization is happening on products. So lot is already happening. Connectivity is getting better, right? Forums like this are creating awareness. So I think if wish is there, wish is that if we can implant a seed of creativity, of electronics, gadgets, products, AI, robotics in our children right from the early age. And right in the K-12 education, I would say K-6 and above, if everybody can be given a small board to play with, and they imagine millions of kids in India starting from K-12 playing with small boards, creating things.
We were discussing like Lego.
Yeah,
like Lego.
and so just we take a Lego and we add electronics to the Lego, and they can create anything they want to create with it. And then we reward them, we incentivize them, we celebrate them like we do Bollywood stars or cricket stars. I think that will automatically
change the future.
change the future and create everything what the panel is talking about.
What a great way to conclude. I'll open the floor for questions for our audience for next 5 minutes. Any questions to our panelists? Sure.
So hi, so my name is Sabir. I work in a software company. I was into semiconductor maybe a couple of years back, but I'm not into that industry now. So I'll ask Mr. Sampath. So you talked about Fab Ready India for the semiconductor. You talked about we are ready in terms of infrastructure, but how are we ready in terms of procuring raw materials? Like I read somewhere that we need huge volumes of water and other things. So how we are ready in that aspect?
Okay, infrastructure is definitely a government-related question. I'm not shying away from that question, right? So last 10 years or 15 years, right, India has seen the sea of transformation in terms of infrastructure, right? So raw materials are pure form of sand. For making semiconductor, you need the purest form of sand. I'm talking about the basic raw material. I'm not talking about the tools and the manufacturing equipments. Manufacturing equipments, there are hardly 2 or 3 guys, Japan and ASML in Netherlands. So those tools which can make wafers, which can make semiconductors is already there, you have to import. I'm not talking about making those tools as well. So when I say semiconductor ready, if some X company wants to put up a fab here, they look at these raw materials. One is if they can ship out the goods as soon as possible when they manufacture. So is the road transport good? Then the airways, the airports, the international airports and the connectivity to the key destinations. Then the shipways or the seaports, right? So electricity, 24/7, I did mention you need electricity. So today electricity is not a problem in India. Second one is the purest form of sand. Sand refining is already mastered. Either you use the sand from the sea or natural forms of sand in India, you can still do it. Third one is purest form of water. Water in India, it's a fact, you can Google for yourself. India doesn't, again, it's a government question. I'm not talking on behalf of government or institutions. So there is surplus water and gallons of water is going into the sea. The water management is not the best in India. To get the purest form of water is still not an issue. There are several, okay, point is, are you talking about natural source of water? No. There are water purifiers used, for example, TSMC, right? I'm just taking a TSMC. There is no rivers there in Taiwan which can give you abundant amount of water to manage. So they refine or purify the water. They take the saline water, they take the water available from the nature, they purify it. Of course, the cost goes high. So to answer your question, yes, we are ready. If for X company, some Y company wants to move their fab from a particular geographic location to India, is it ready? Answer is still yes, it would be ready. I'm pretty sure the government is taking a lot of initiative to make it better. If somebody is going to really put up a fab, I'm pretty sure government will do their best to ensure that these fabs are operational in 2 to 3 years of time.
Brilliant question and brilliant answer. One more last question. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Saksham. I'm currently a student, so I basically wanted to ask you mentioned about semiconductors and everything, right? First of all, great insights on how we are ready to manufacture something. But from an Indian perspective, I mean to say, manufacturing of semiconductors, from as far as I know, requires a huge amount of capital, right? Without getting in certain institutions which can fund this process, I don't think that would be possible from an Indian perspective. So from point of view of a person who does not have access to that much amount of capital, what do you think what we can build in India? Could we help out in supply chains of, building those semiconductors, or what exactly could we build in India to bolster this level, to get to that level wherein we can manufacture in the same space?
Sure. So looks like semiconductor is the hottest topic.
You are the
I think so. I did mention, right? Every semiconductor company has the largest design center outside of India. So what do we mean? So any chip which is rolled out by, including my company or any of my peer companies, there is majority of the design contribution happening already out of India. So I get your question. You're talking about, can we roll out a chip, right? So today, the trend is go fabless. So if you want to, for example, you are a student, you have an innovative idea to design a specific chip. It could be the smallest sensor, right, which can resolve some of the unique problems. And that particular sensor is not yet available from the global companies, or you are improvising on something. You can do the chip design for yourself. There is no capital investment. There are EDA tools available from the Synopsys, the Mentor Graphics, etc. You design, you can, it's a digital, it's a app or a EDA tool on your computer. So you generate the net list and then give it to the fabs who can make some golden silicon for you to test on the PCB, whether it works well. Then you make manufacturing. So the investment, that's why you see a lot of startups. I don't know if you attended the inaugural session yesterday. So there were a lot of startups who are filing patents. I'm talking about startups, not the big global companies like ours. So they are innovating, investing on chip design or making chips out of India already. So fab is investment oriented, but designing of chips doesn't require any major investment. It's just the manpower, skill set, and the knowledge. So that's the answer for your question.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I would like to add to this point. So there's a lot of mention about chips, semiconductor. But as we discussed, it's a whole chain. You have a concept. You design the product, how it looks, how the experience would be. You have to own end-to-end experience. Then you design the interface, the materials, the software. Manufacturing is the last stage, and then the components come into the place. So if gadgets have to be, created, a lot of this whole value chain can still be done. And then manufacturing is the last step. So I think we just need prototyping labs, places, makers fairs, where you can prototype, learn, experiment quickly. And then you will find a lot of partners to fill in the gaps, whether it is the semiconductor side, whether it is the manufacturing side, whatever it is. So if we have to be there, we have to think about products, creating brands and excellent experiences.
Perfect. I think with that, I would like to, give a big round of applause to our panelists on the insights, on policy making, on the people, on the culture, on the different roles of the telco, the spikes coming into the demand, and to all my audience, thanks a lot for being such a fantastic audience with such good questions. With that,
Thank you, Abhishek, and thank you to our respected speakers for such a wonderful and insightful session, and thank you to all the audience. Now I request Mr. Abhishek Gupta to present a token of appreciation to all the respected speakers, please.